As y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. Comment section, y'all know the deal. Y'all know what we about to do. You know what we like to do around this time. As y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. I'm just pulling up got some stuff that I want to make sure I share with you all. Shout out to all y'all watching on Facebook. Let me make sure my camera's looking right. As y'all coming in, check in the comment section. Let me know your name and where you are checking in from. We're gonna get started in like 15 seconds. Let me just get my pinned comment up here. I keep hitting my iPad for it by accident. As y'all coming in, check yourselves in. Comment your name, where you checking in from. Let me get my comment pinned up. Then we're going to get right into this. We don't like to waste too much time here at the university. We like to get things moving, get in, deliver what we're supposed to deliver, and then get out so y'all can get on to actually performing and producing what I'm about to share with y'all here today. Since we got a new month coming up, make sure you are checking on your goals. Make sure you check on your goals. Write yourself some goals for next month. If you've never written goals down before, use today as an excuse. And your excuse is the fact that I just brought it up, that you should write down goals. Write down your goals for this upcoming month. Now, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Those of you who don't know me, I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 33 books, done 4 TEDx talks, created this whole brand called Work on Your Game, where we take all the tools to help athletes get to the top 1% in sports, and we translate them over to the business world to help professionals like yourselves perform at a higher level, be more consistent, and make more money. That is what we do here at this place that I call Work on Your Game University. So if you're not familiar with the university, that is the place where you work with me. If you want to learn more about what we do and how we help people and how we take people to their next level, just click the link in my bio on Instagram or the link in the comment on Facebook, or you see the link that I got right here called workonyourgameuniversity.com. Twine Flu said, you played me one-on-one at JMP, and that means you lost at least one game of one-on-one because you did not win that game. So I don't know when we played, but whenever we played, you lost. I can guarantee you that. Shout out to you, though, Twine Flu. Thank you for providing me with that victory in that game whenever it happened. Now, what we're going to talk about here today, speaking of playing one-on-one, we're going to talk about the 3-step process for you to get off the bench. How do you get off the bench and get in the game? Are any of you who feels like you are on the bench in your life right now? Like there are things that you want to do and things that you want to accomplish, but for whatever reason, you're not doing them. You're not executing the way that you want to execute, or maybe you're just not as engaged or as active in the space that you want to be active in right now. How do you get off the bench and actually start doing stuff? And those of you on Facebook, I can see your comments too if you leave one. So you can shout yourselves out on Facebook as well. But how do you get off the bench and actually get into the game? Because this process right here that I'm going to share today, this is something that everybody has to go through when you're building success in anything. And this is also this will give you a taste of the kind of things you will learn, the kind of things you're going to be doing. You come into Work on Your Game University. I'm giving you a high level overview of this right here. But understand, when you come into the university, you will no longer be on the bench. You will be in the game because we're going to show you, first of all, what the game is, because you might think you know what the game is, but it may be different than what you think it is. And then we're going to show you how to actually get in the game and how to actually play. And not only just play in the game, but win the game, because our goal here is not to just play in the game. The goal is to win the game. The reason we call it work on your game, work on your game so that when you get in a game, so you have game. So when you get in a game, you can actually win the game. So any of you who's interested in playing, not only playing the game, but winning the game, this is the message for you that I'm about to share. Number one thing you have to do. First thing, you got to develop your game. Actually, the first thing is step 0. Before we can get to step 1 is you got to know what the game is. You got to know what game you're in. Biggest challenge a lot of entrepreneurs have is that they think they're in one game, but they're actually in another game. The game that you think you're in may not be the game that you are actually in. So this is very important that you get an accurate assessment, an accurate diagnosis of what you're doing, where you're doing it, who you're doing it for, why, and how you're doing it. Many times people think they're in one game, but they're in another game. Therefore, if you have an incorrect assessment or inaccurate assessment, rather, of what it is that you're doing, you might think that all the steps that you're taking are helping you get to an outcome. But if you think you're in a different game than you're actually in, then you could be doing a whole lot of hard work that's taking you in the wrong direction, or it's taking you in a direction that's not where you're trying to go. Because again, you thought it was one thing, but it's actually another thing. So it's very important you get clear on what game you're actually in. Biggest challenge a lot of entrepreneurs have is they don't know what game they're in, and this is how people get lost. So let's assume that you know what game you're in. All right, and that's a very, very generous assumption that I'm making here, because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of times they don't know what game they're in. But let's assume that you do. Point number 1 is you got to develop your game. So now you know what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Developing your game means what skills do you need and which ones do you not have? That's the first question you got to ask yourself. For the game that I'm trying to play, what skills do I need? And that could be a list. Maybe let's say it's 10 skills that you need. And then the question is, the follow-up to that is, what skills do I not have? What am I missing? What do I not have right now that I know that I need in order to move forward? So if you know you need to be good at selling, but you're not good at selling, then that's some part of your game that needs to be developed. Or there's a gap that needs to be filled. Maybe you won't develop the skill, but maybe you could go get with someone who has that skill and they can fill it in for you. So this can be using who over what. And instead of trying to figure out what to do, just figure out who can do it. What if the game that you want to get in, you got to have really good communication skills, but you're not that type of person who really likes talking to people like that. So that's a gap. That gap needs to be filled. Either you need to develop your communication skills, or you need to team up with someone who has really good communication skills so they can communicate on your behalf, because clearly you're not the one who's going to be doing it. So that's another way that you can fill that gap. So the thing is, you got to get really clear on what skills are needed for you to succeed, and then what skills you don't have. There's another challenge that many entrepreneurs have. And on top of not knowing what game they're in, is that even when they do know what game they're in, they don't know what they're missing. They think, okay, well, if I just do these 3 things, then I'm good. And those 3 things are necessary, but they're forgetting about 17 other things that they also need that they don't even know that they're missing. So then they're doing the 3 things that they know about, still not getting their results. Then they get frustrated, like, hey, I'm doing these 3 things. Why is it not working? It's because 17 other things that you didn't even know about that you're missing. So this is very important that you understand what parts of your game still need to be developed and what parts of your game are useful for where you're at. Another thing you should keep in mind is that sometimes you have skills that are completely irrelevant to what you're trying to do. Some of your skills may not be necessary for what you're doing right now or for where you're trying to go right now. For example, my background is in sports. I played professional basketball for almost a decade. I know how to dribble. I know how to shoot. I can do a crossover move. I can dunk. I can make a 3-pointer. What does any of that have to do with my ability to, for example, get on the stage and deliver a 45-minute keynote address? Zero. Has nothing to do with it. So just because I invested a whole bunch of time and learned how to shoot a jump shot and how to do a turnaround J, or how to do a crossover move, or how to make a left-hand layup, just because I put a lot of time into learning how to do those things does not mean that those skills must be incorporated in every single thing I do for the rest of my life, because they are not relevant to what I'm doing right now. You get what I'm saying? And my ability to give a keynote speech would not be relevant if I decided to pick up a basketball and go play in some basketball league, because it's not relevant to that space. So sometimes you have to look at the skill set that you have and ask yourself, which skills do I need for this particular job? It may not be every skill you've ever developed. It may not be everything that you ever have. And you can have a whole lot of assets that all those assets are not needed in everything that you do. When you're in sales, for example, and I am actively in sales, if I'm selling you something, I'm not going to tell you about every single piece and every single detail of everything that's in what I'm selling you. Why? Because you don't need to know all that. I'm going to tell you the parts that you need to know to help you make a decision so we can move forward and we can take the next step, which might be me telling you about the 3 most important things that you need, not all 32 things that are part of the product. Because by the time I tell you all 32, you're falling asleep because I'm talking too much. I'm giving you too much information that you don't even need. I got to give you enough information to help you take the next step and make a decision, which may not be me telling you every single detail. I just got to tell you enough to move you forward. And sometimes I can leave certain pieces out that you won't even need because they're not relevant to you. So this is all part of developing your game. All right, everybody understand what I'm saying? So you got to know what you need for your game. Then you got to know what you are missing that you need to develop. And also you got to look at everything you have and know what you need to leave out, because you don't need to put everything in every single thing that you do. Everybody following what I'm saying here? Good. Point number 2. So the first step is developing your game. We all got that. Here's the second thing you got to do. You got to show your game. In other words, people have to know that you exist. You can't get a return on investment from your game if nobody knows that you're out there. Nobody knows that you have the new pizza shop around the corner, then you're probably not going to sell too much pizza. Why? Because nobody knows you're there. Nobody knows that you exist. I mean, somebody might walk by and notice your shop there if you're in a walkable area, but you'll probably get more customers coming in if you were to run some ads on Facebook or get a listing in the yellow pages, or you were to send one of your workers to hand out flyers all around the neighborhood and put them in people's front doors, or you were to, I don't know, put a coupon in the local flyer that goes out to everybody's home to do something. If you were to go to the local elementary school and give out free slices of pizza, you got to do something to make sure that people know that you exist. Some of you are undercover entrepreneurs. You are selling stuff, but nobody knows you're selling it. Nobody knows it's for sale. Some of you have businesses, whether you got a book, you have a course, you're a coach, you're a therapist, you're a personal trainer, you're a network marketer, whatever, and you're really good at what you do, or at least you think you are, yet nobody knows that you exist. Nobody knows that you can actually do the thing that you do. And the person standing right next to you, or the person living 2 doors down from you, needs what you offer, but they can't buy it because they don't know that you're there. They don't even know about you because you're not showing your game. All right, so it's a two-part process of showing your game. You got to create an opportunity, then you got to maximize the opportunity. You got to do both. Create the opportunity means people need to know you exist. And maximize the opportunity is when people do know you exist, then what do? Can you get them to want to take another step with you? Can you get them to want to do something with you once you have let them know that you exist? All right, they know you're there. All right, so let's say I got a cracked iPhone screen. All right, I know that you can fix iPhone screens. Now, can you get me to bring my phone to your shop so you can fix it and I can pay you $100 to fix my screen? Can you actually get me to do something? Now, there's a difference between me knowing that you exist and me wanting to engage with you in business. That's two different things. Can you get me to want to engage with you and then get me to actually engage with you? All right, that's your job as a marketer. That's your job as a salesperson. In the basketball world, for example, there's a difference between being able to shoot and being able to get your shot. There are people who can shoot, but they can't score any points in the game. Not because they can't shoot. They don't lose the ability to shoot because they can't ever get open. They can't get open enough to get a shot off, even though you can shoot. Now, if you can get your shot off, now the question is, can you actually shoot? So you got to be able to do both. Can you get an opportunity and can you maximize the opportunity? So as a salesperson, for example, it's hard to sell anything if you can't have a sales conversation. If you can't get anybody to come to your website or get on a Zoom call with you or sit down with you over coffee so you can pitch them your product. If you can't schedule a sales conversation, you're probably not going to sell anything because you never have anybody to talk to, nobody to sell to, right? That's the first challenge. Second challenge is, what if you got a whole bunch of people to sell to, but you're just terrible at selling? So you might have 50 sales calls scheduled. You have all 50 sales conversations and you make 0 sales. It's probably because you suck at selling, or maybe you have a crappy product, or you haven't developed your game properly. So it could be a lot of different reasons why you're failing to sell, but you got to be able to do both. Can you generate attention and can you do something with the attention once you get it? Now, there are a lot of people in life who can shoot, or at least they think they do, and they believe they have game, but they're not able to convert their game into actual results. So you got to be able to do both of these at the same time. And if anyone has a question, I'll answer them at the end. So you got to be able to do both of these. All right. So the second part is showing your game. Do people know that you exist? And do people know what they need to do if they want to work with you? All right. Getting people to know that you exist is part of your job, by the way. And if you didn't know that, getting people to be aware of your existence, to know that you're alive and to know that you have, whatever you sell, etc. That is part of your job. If you are not doing that on a daily basis, you're not doing your job. Your job is to make sure people know that you're there. They got to know that you exist. They got to know that you're active. They got to know you're in the game. And there are many different ways to do this. The great thing about the internet is it allows you many different avenues for doing so. Those of you who are in my world, I send you a text message. If you get my daily motivation text message. Any of you want to get my daily motivation text, you can text me at this number right here. I'm going to put it in the chat. I send my daily motivation text every single day. All right. That's why do I send that daily motivation text every day? Well, first of all, to keep you focused, sharp, and on point in the day, but also as a way for you to stay in touch with me. It's a way for me to stay in touch with you. I'm giving you a touch point so that you're staying in touch with me. That's one way. I do these live streams often. I don't schedule them. I don't tell you what time or what day I'm going to do it, but I do these live streams on a regular basis. I publish to YouTube every day. My podcast comes out every day. Any of you who's on my email list, how often do you get emails from me? Anybody who's on my email list, tell me how many times in a week do you get an email from me? I don't know if there's anybody in here who's on my email list, but if you are, somebody put in the chat, how many times a week do you get an email from me if you're on my email list? And the whole point is I'm making sure that I stay in front of people. People have to know that you're there. All right, they don't know that you're there. They can't do anything with you. You cannot generate business from people who don't know that you exist. They don't know that you have a product or a service or an offer or a program or whatever it is that you're selling. All right, so there you go. Comedistry. I don't know how to pronounce that, but every day. All right, either way, every day you see it. All right, people who are on my email list know you get an email from me all the time. Sometimes you get more than one email in a day. The point is I'm staying active. Right? You're not going to forget that I'm there. All right, that's the whole point. I'm not telling you got to send an email every day or you got to start a daily motivation text message or do live streams. I'm saying whatever you're doing to whoever your audience is, you have to be visible to them. You got to be findable, visible. They have to know that you're there. If they don't know you're there, they can't do anything with you. All right. So whatever it is that you're sharing with them needs to fit their needs and has to be enough, has to be relevant enough to keep their attention. Point number 3. So we're talking about here today how to get off the bench. Any of you feel like you're on the bench in your life and you need to get off the bench? I'm gonna tell y'all. Oh, co-ministry. Got it. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for breaking that down. Number 3. Third thing you got to do is get return on investment for your game. So you developed your game. You know what game you're in. You are showing your game so people know that you exist. You're giving them a way to engage with your game. Now you got to get the return on investment for your game, because all of you, I don't care whether you are running a nonprofit organization or you're trying to become the richest person on the planet and you are absolutely for profit, or you're a registered capitalist, you don't go to work for free. Nobody here works for free, at least not for long. And you go to work. The reason that any of us goes to work, even if you're doing volunteer work right now, the reason you're doing that work is because you want to work yourself up, build up your resume, prove yourself to where you can actually make money for what you're doing. All of us are trying to make money for what we do in one way or another. Some people have bigger ambitions than others, but everybody's trying to create some way of generating revenue consistently. Why? Because you need money to live. All right. Money takes care of your food, clothing, and shelter and your bills, if nothing else. And I bet many of you want to do a lot more than just survive on food, clothing, and shelter, right? You want to go on vacations. You want to have nice cars. You want to be able to buy whatever you want. You want to take care of your family. You want to pay off anything you owe, any debts, student loans, all that stuff. You want to take care of that stuff, right? So how do you do that? By earning money. You got to generate return on investment for your game. So once you are helping people and you're showing people that you can help them and they're getting value from you, now you got to be able to convert that value into value for yourself. Value you create for others should create value for you. In other words, can you make money from your game? It's one thing to have games, another thing to make money from your game. How many of you how many of you have ever been in a situation, let's put it this way, where you felt like you had more game than you were getting ROI? Like, man, I got all this game and I got all this ability, but I'm not making the kind of money based on my ability that I think I should be making. If any of you have ever been in that situation, you can let me know. And if you are in that situation right now, what you need to be doing, if you know what I know, and I'm telling you what I know, you need to go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and get involved, get engaged and get into the world, get outside at the university so we can help you with a real life education, focus on your mindset, strategy, systems, and execution so that you can consistently make the kind of money that you want to make in your business. Again, that's at Work on Your Game University. When I first got out of college, because the first thing I did out of college, I worked at a couple regular jobs like Foot Locker, Bally Total Fitness, and I knew I had this ability to play ball, and I felt like I was good enough to play pro, but I hadn't played pro yet. But I was annoyed or frustrated or just trying to figure it out, whatever words you want to use, because I knew I had more game than I was getting results. I knew that was my situation. I have more game than I'm getting results right now. I want to be getting more results, and I want to be getting more ROI for what I can do than what I'm getting right now. I feel like I should be making more money than I'm making right now. I was working at Foot Locker. I should be playing pro ball overseas somewhere right now. I'm making a lot more money than I'm making. The problem was I hadn't yet figured out how to generate return on investment for my abilities. And once I figured it out, or let me back up, until I figured it out, I stayed in the same situation. So I stayed in the same situation, working at Foot Locker, working at Bally Total Fitness, living in my parents' house, driving this beat up car when I even had a car, just living check to check. And that was pretty much my situation. I didn't really have extra money to do anything until I figured out, how do I convert my ability into some actual return on investment? How do I turn this into some actual money? And what I had to do, I had to learn how to sell. I had to learn how to sell myself. I had to learn how to market, promote, and sell myself. When I started doing that, that's when things started working. When I started learning how to market, promote, and sell myself, several things happened. First of all, I went to an exposure camp, got myself a basketball agent. A basketball agent is just like a literary agent, or any of you ever worked in the acting world, Hollywood, TV agents, movie agents. They're the people who can help you get a job. So I got an agent. My agent helped me get a job. So now I started making money from playing basketball. So I got to say goodbye to Foot Locker and Bally Total Fitness. Then I got on the internet. I started selling myself on the internet. I started blogging. I started making videos. This is basketball videos at the time, but I was marketing myself. I started to build an audience. A few years later, I'm still playing ball. I started to monetize my audience. So I had an audience of people watching me on the internet, watching me do basketball stuff. What I started doing, I started making products. I started making products and services, programs that I could sell to the people who were already watching me and they already knew me, they liked me and they trusted that I knew what I was doing. So I started making programs, started selling it to those people through the content that I was putting out on the internet. So now I had two businesses going at the same time. I had my pro ball career and I had this business that I was doing on the internet. And that business on the internet turned into other things. Like I started talking about mindset, and then I started writing books, and I started making courses. Then when I got out of basketball, I started coaching people, and that coaching and the programs and all that stuff became what we now have as Work on Your Game University. I mean, I fast forwarded through 15 years there, but that's pretty much how it worked. The whole point is I had to learn how to sell myself. Until I learned how to sell myself, I would have continued suffering in the same situation. Some of you are suffering in a situation right now because you have not yet learned how to sell yourself, or you haven't connected with someone who can sell yourself. And I want you to notice, this is something that I mentioned several times just in this stream that I'm talking right now, the last 20 minutes, is that you don't have to learn how to do everything yourself. So all these things that I'm telling you that maybe you're not getting the outcomes you want right now because you're not doing these things, understand something. There's a question between who and what. And if you read the book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, he talks about this. And you don't have to read the book to understand this point, is that whenever you find yourself stuck in a situation and you know that there's something you're missing, you know that there's something that you don't have, there's two options that you have. Well, actually three options. One option is you can do nothing, you can stay stuck. And this is how most people live. I would assume that most of you who are watching this are not that type of person, so we don't have to talk about that. Second option is you can figure out, what do I need to do, and go do it. That's basically you going and developing more skill. That means, all right, I don't know how to sell, so let me go take some classes on selling. I don't know how to market. Let me go learn how to market myself. I don't know how to do X, so let me go figure out how to do this X thing. That's the what. There's a what that you don't have. You go get it. All right. Now, the challenge with the what is that it can take a very long time. It can take a long time to learn how to sell. It can take a long time to develop a skill. I mean, how many of you went to college? All right. How long you were in college? How much money did it cost you? All right, so you can, and even after all that, right, you still can't even name one definable skill you got from it. But you spend all that money and all that time. So the challenge with if you go the what route is it might take you a long time and a lot of money and you still don't actually solve the problem. The fastest way to solve any one of these problems, when you find out that you're missing something, is instead of asking, what do I need, ask, who do I need? WHO, who? That's not the World Health Organization. That's who. Like, who is in a person. What that means is, who out there already has the ability that I need, that I can connect with, and then they can fill the gap that I am missing. They could do what I don't have the ability to do. So any of you who's not a good salesperson, but you have a great product, you need to go find somebody who's a great salesperson. Show them your product, get them to believe in your vision, and let them go sell your product. And then every time they make a sale, they get a cut of the money and you get a cut of the money. Guess what? You don't have to develop any new skills. You don't even have to do any work. You already developed a great product. Let the salesperson go do all the work. They get money. You get money. And now you are basically making passive income. That may not be 100% passive, but it's semi-passive because you ain't out there making all the sales calls. Your salesperson is doing it. So this is, and I'm giving you that just as an example. So this could be anything. It doesn't have to be sales. So let's say you have a great idea, but you need a website, but you're not a web developer, and you ain't got the money to develop a website. You ain't got the money to pay a good web developer, and you know if you try to do it yourself, it's going to either take forever or it's going to suck, which is probably true. They're probably both true. It's going to take forever and it's going to suck. So you probably don't design your own website. Here's what you do. Go find somebody who's a web developer. Get them to partner with you on what you're doing, and every sale that comes through that website, they get a cut because they developed the website. And tell them they do all the maintenance and the upkeep for the website. All you do is check the payment processing. You make sure the money's coming through, and every dollar that comes through, they get a cut, you get a cut. Y'all work out the deal, sign the contract, boom, there you go. You solved your problem. I'm giving you these as examples. I'm not telling you this is exactly what you should do. You need to go to Work on Your Game University, and I'll talk to you about your specific situation to help you what you need to do. And I'm gonna answer questions at the end, by the way. So if you had a question and I didn't answer it yet, I will answer it. The whole thing is, you don't need to solve every problem on your own. The problem with trying to solve every problem on your own is that you don't have enough time, nor do you have enough talent to do everything by yourself. No human being has the talent to do everything by themselves. Elon Musk does not do everything by himself. That's the Tesla guy, by the way. Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, he does not do everything by himself. Steve Jobs, he's now passed away, the Apple guy who created these phones, he does not do everything by himself. All right, the president of the United States, how many people the president got on their team? whatever, whoever the president is. How many people they got on their team? Like they got like hundreds of people on their team. The president's assistant got an assistant, and their assistant got an assistant. What? Why? Why do they have all those people? Is it just to make themselves feel important? Yeah, that's part of it. But the real reason is because so that they don't have to do everything by themselves, so they can focus on what they do best. All of you need to know what you do best. What do you do best? What are your money skills? What are the skills that you have that if you had to go in the open market and sell that ability, you can make money from it within like the next 10 days? What do you do best? I'm not talking about things you want to be able to do. I'm talking about things you actually can do and you can charge money for it in the open market, not at a job, but you can actually go charge another human being for it and they will pay you. Most people have one or two skills that fit that description. One or two, not 6, not 13, 1 or 2. You should be spending most of your time doing those 1 or 2 things. Everything else, you want to be looking for who can do this, because there's somebody out there who has that skill that you don't have. That's one of their money skills that they need to be spending all their time on. You got yours, and y'all are a perfect fit because you do what they can't do and they do what you can't do. Those are what you need to be doing. We call that a collaboration. And this is the era that we live in today, folks, the era of collaboration. So if you right now listening to me are out there running a business, or you're trying to run a business or trying to build a business, and you're doing everything by yourself, you are doing things in the slowest possible way. Why? Because you ain't good enough to do everything. I don't even need to know you to say that. I'm not good enough to do everything. You're not good enough to do everything. Nobody is good enough to do everything. Name any big name business person you know of. Name one who's doing everything by themselves. You can't. Ain't one. There isn't any. Every big name business person you know of became big name because they aren't doing the things by themselves. They got a bunch of people doing a bunch of stuff on their behalf that they don't have to do, so they can focus on doing all the stuff that made you know their name, whatever it is that they do. Here's the fourth part. You need all 3 of these parts to complete the picture. All 4 points that I've shared here. Here's the fourth point. You need all 3 of these to complete the picture. Problem is, many people stall at these points, and either they keep trying to do things that don't work, or they quit, or they complain that the game is working against them. All right, these are all failing strategies. Many people come up short because you keep trying to do the same stuff that doesn't work. I've already told you what those things are that you should stop doing, or they just quit, or they complain, which is another form of quitting. All right, none of these produce results. The solution is to take a step back, look at the 3 parts, and figure out where you're messing up, and then make your adjustments. And again, many times people are inaccurate in diagnosing their actual issue. This is why we have Work on Your Game University. Go to the university. You can hop on a call with me or somebody on my team, and we can help you get clear on where exactly you need to go next. And if we can help you get there, we will show you how we can help you. If we can't help you, we'll tell you that too. But go to Work on Your Game University and get on a call with somebody from my team. We can help you figure out what exactly you're doing, where exactly you need to go next. And again, if we can help you with those next steps, we'll show you, hey, here's what the next steps will look like. Here's how it will work. Here's what it will look like working with us. And we'll tell you what the deal is. If we can't help you, we will tell you that as well. But I don't want any of you out here spinning your wheels, and 10 years from now, it's 2033, and you're sitting down talking about, man, 10 years ago, I had a great business idea and all this energy, but I can never figure out what to do next. Like, you don't have that excuse, because I'm sitting here offering to you right now. We will help you diagnose exactly what the issue is. And again, if the diagnosis means we can help you further, we will. If the diagnosis means you need to do something on your own, go ahead, go do it. Right? No harm, no foul. Okay. But you should not be in the dark anymore. All right. There's no excuse for anybody to be in the dark in the world that we're in now. We're all interconnected. You have access to a bunch of people, or at least you can virtually access them. You can't directly access them. There's no reason why you should be lost as to what to do next with all of these people and all this information out here in the world. So let me recap my points. I'm going to address the questions that are in the comments. If anybody got a question in the comment section, put it in there. If anybody got a question, put it in the comment section. I'll address it in a second. Let me recap these 3 points. And again, Work on Your Game University is the place that I'm going to offer you to go. I'll tell you now, I'm going to tell you again in a minute after I recap these points. But that's the main thing that we focus on. The main thing I focus on is Work on Your Game University. So when we talk about those money skills, my money skills are writing and speaking. And you see, most of the time when you hear from me, what am I doing? I'm either writing or I'm speaking. I'm either writing something down, either text message, email, a book, article, etc., or I'm speaking. I'm doing live stream like this, podcast, YouTube video. I know what my money skills are. If anytime most of you see me, most of you don't know me in person, most of you never met me in person, most of the time, what do you see me doing? Those 2 things, right? Okay. I'm not saying I don't do other stuff, But the main two things you know me for are those two things right there. You need to know what yours are, and that's what you should be spending all of your time, or as much as possible, doing just those things. Why? Because those are the things that are going to produce the highest return on investment on your time, which is the most important, most valuable asset that you have. So the topic here today is getting off the bench and getting in the game. 3 things you need to do. Number 1, you need to, first of all, number 0. I put 3 points here, 4 points. It's actually 5 points. Point 0 is you got to know what game you're in. Unfortunately, for many entrepreneurs, you don't know what game you're in. Many entrepreneurs think they're in one game, but they're actually in another game. You got to know what game you are actually playing. You are playing the wrong game. You could do all the right stuff, but still end up in the wrong place because you had a misdiagnosis. Any you ever been to the doctor and they misdiagnosed what was wrong with you? All right, that's you when you don't know what game you're in. Point number 1, develop your game. In other words, you need to know what skills are necessary for you to get to where you want to get to. And then you need to deduce, what are you missing? What skills do you not have? What do you need to develop, or who do you need to go meet and connect with who actually has the skills that you need? You don't have to develop every skill by yourself. All right. And this is, again, the slowest way to do anything is try to develop a whole bunch of skills by yourself. All right. You went to college for how many years? How much money did it cost you? And what skills did you get out of college with? Most of you don't even know. Right. But you went to school for 4 years. So going and trying to get all the skills by yourself is not the most efficient way to do it. It's actually the least efficient way to do things. All right, so figure out what you are missing, and then you need to know. All right, these are the 7 things that I'm missing. I need to fill these 7 gaps, and understand you need to look for who can fill these gaps, not what you need to do to fill them. How long would it take you to develop seven new skills? Not to mention all the time you're taking away from the skills that you already have. Number 2, show your game. This is making sure that people know that you exist. All right, some of you are undercover entrepreneurs. All right, you run the business, nobody knows that you exist. All right, this is why you can't make money. People don't know that you're there. All right, they will buy from you if they knew you existed, but they don't know you're there, so they can't give you money. All right, people have to know that you exist. You need to be active. You need to be out in front of people so that they can actually see you. Any of you who follows my work, how often do you get a text message from me? How often do you get my emails? How often does my podcast come out? How often do you see me on these live streams? How often do you see me doing the reels in front of the whiteboard? How often do you see me out there? All right, consistently. Even if, look, some of you have been following my material for months and years and ain't never bought nothing, but but you still see me actively, right? You still see me out there all the time. Why? Because I'm standing in front of you. So when you are ready to buy something, guess who you're going to think? You're going to think of. You're going to think of me. Or you might think of other people too, but hopefully you think of me first because I'm giving you value on a consistent basis. You got to be active. And again, I'm not telling you need to be you don't need to do what I'm doing, but I'm saying whoever your audience is, you need to be in front of them, showing them what it looks like to get value from you so that they already know what they're getting. So when it's time for them to make a decision, they don't have to think twice about you. They don't have to evaluate you because they're evaluating you every day right now. They're already doing it. So you got to be active. You got to be outside, folks. And again, there's a difference between being able to shoot and getting your shot. All right. Just because you have ability does not mean you're going to get any return for it. You got to make sure that you get in front of the people who can actually give you the return. Who are those people? You need to know that. And then how do you get in front of them? You need to figure that out. All right. This is called strategy. Number 3, get the return on investment for your game. That means converting your ability into the tangible outcomes that you want. So when I was playing ball, I got out of college. I thought I was good enough to play pro, but I did not have a contract because I wasn't able to get anyone to give me a contract. Therefore, I was working at Foot Locker thinking I got all this ability, but I can't make any money from it. And until I figured that out, I kept working at Foot Locker. All right. And as soon as I figured it out, guess what I did? I stopped working at Foot Locker. All right. Simple as that. All right. And the world didn't owe me anything. Nobody had did anything wrong to me. Nobody was hating on me. It was just I had not figured out how to convert my ability into a return on investment. You need to figure out how to convert your ability into a return on investment. And until you do, you will continue to suffer. All right. Understand, money may not be the main driver for all of us. All right. Some people, money is the main thing. Some people, money is like number 8 on the list. But everybody needs money for food, clothing, and shelter. All right. We all got bills, right? That phone that you have every month is a bill, right? I just got an email from T-Mobile today or yesterday. So your bill will be auto drafted in like 23 weeks from now. And I owe them $68. All right. I got to pay that bill. All right. So even if money is not the most important thing, I got to make money. You got to make money to take care of everything, right? So all of us need to make money on some level. And if you're an entrepreneur, your duty is to generate money for your business. Whether money is your main driver or not, it is your duty to generate money for your business. That's why you're an entrepreneur. That's the definition of entrepreneur, is a person who starts a business enterprise while taking on greater than normal financial risk. It's the definition of the word. Look it up. So point number 4, All three parts here are needed to complete this picture. All right. The problem is most people either keep trying things that don't work or they quit. This is where most people fail. They keep trying stuff that does not work, or they keep trying to do everything on their own, which is another form of things that don't work, or they just quit. And this is why many people don't succeed. Now, I could understand if 20 years ago that was your problem. This shouldn't be your problem in 2023, and here's why. It shouldn't be your problem because these days you can pretty much connect with and you can even have a conversation with damn near anybody. So if you come across somebody who looks like they know what they're doing, you could probably get some kind of response from them as to what they have going on, and maybe even have a conversation with them or one of their assistants or their salesperson or their team or something, or get some kind of information about what to do next. All right. Worst case scenario, you can go on Amazon and buy a damn book and sit down and read it that at least give you some direction about what you need to do. Now, I'm not saying the book's going to solve all your problems, but it can at least take you in a direction. Here at Work on Your Game University, I told you I was going to tell you this again. You go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can get on a call with me or somebody on my team. It will cost you nothing, and we'll figure out where you're at, where you need to go, and we will show you exactly, hey, here is exactly what the next steps are that you need to take. And if we can help you with those steps, we will tell you how, and we'll tell you what it looks like. If we can't help you, we'll tell you that too. We'll still tell you what the steps are, and we'll tell you where to go to take those steps. Because maybe we're not the best fit for you, but somebody else would be a good fit. We'll tell you that. All right? I know a whole lot of people. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We will help you schedule out and figure out what are your next steps in your business, even if we're not the ones that will help you with it. If we are the ones that help you, we'll tell you that, and we'll tell you how it works. But either way, there's no reason for any of you to be lost. How can you be lost in 2023 when damn near everybody's on the internet? There's 8 billion people on the planet, like 7.5 billion of them are on the internet. How are you lost? How are you lost as what to do? That doesn't make sense. You should be sending a DM to 10 people who could help you and seeing which one of them responds. Which one of them says, hey, let's get on the call. Hey, let's jump on Zoom. Hey, send me a number. I'm going to call you right now. Somebody's going to respond to you, and somebody will talk to you. And again, even if they can't help you overall in the long run, even if you can't afford their product, they can at least give you some direction so you're not lost. You shouldn't be stuck and not know what to do. That doesn't make sense in 2023, folks. So any of you who's feeling lost right now, that you shouldn't be lost, especially if you listen to me. All that said, let me not recap, but go through my comments here. Anybody got a question or a comment, put it in the comment section right now. What we're talking about here is how to get off the bench and get in the game. Question is, what was one of the toughest challenges you faced getting into the sales industry? What method did you use to overcome the adversity? Well, I kind of just answered that when I was talking about playing ball and how I was I wanted to play pro, but nobody was signing me to a contract. That was a challenge because I was trying to get into that, and less than 1% of people get to play a professional sport. So I had to figure that out. I had to figure out how to sell myself. So that was the challenge, figuring out how to sell myself. And once I figured it out, I started using that ability to sell myself in everything that I did. So I applied that in basketball. Then I applied it on the internet, like what you see here. Then I applied it as an entrepreneur. So I just took that skill and just took it to everything that I did. So it's a good question. Train with Lane says, my issue is finding investors for the vision. That might not be your issue. Train with Lane. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who have a similar challenge, or they think they do. They're like, all right, I got this business and I want to do this, this, and this, but I need investors. In other words, when you say investors, what you mean is you need a certain amount of money so that you can get your business going and get your business off the ground. But what if you don't get an investor? Is there any other way that you can get it going? Right. An investor may not be the only way, because and I don't know exactly what you do, Train with Lane, but when I hear from entrepreneurs who are talking about needing investors, often is because they are pre-revenue. They're not really making much money in their business just yet. So they want an investor so they have some cash so they can go do things. Well, here's the challenge, is that not many investors are going to invest in a business that's not making money yet, because what's the proof that you're going to make any money back? See, this is the challenge with the investment/loan industry in the business world, is that they only give you money when you already got it. All right. When's the best time to get a credit card, folks? Is when you got a perfect credit score. But when do you need credit? Is when you don't have a perfect credit score. When you got great credit, it's usually because all your bills are paid because you got money. So you don't really need the credit. So it kind of works backwards. So Train with Lane, that might not actually be your issue. I don't know. I don't know you. And that might not be the issue. I would suggest you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's what I would do if I was you. So let me see what else we got in here. I don't see anything else. So everybody, my website, well, I got a bunch of websites, but workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the place you need to go. That is the main thing that I am focused on. You want to know, Dre, what's the best way to work with you? What's the best way to learn with you? What's the best way to get and go further with you? What's the best way to get coached by you? What's the best way to have a conversation with you? What's the best way to learn how you do things that work on your game and help people? Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Yes, I got books, I got podcasts, and y'all see the stuff on social media. So workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is the place to go. I'm putting my text number in here one more time. So if you want to get into my text community and get my daily motivation text that I send out for free every morning, even on weekends, even on holidays, text me at that number. And I do read those texts. I do respond to people's text messages. So text me at that number, 305-384-6894. Send a text to that number right now. And yes, you will be in my text community. And every day when I send out the daily motivation, you'll get it. Let me show you. Just so y'all know, I do send these texts out every single day. So daily motivation text, you see right here, I got a couple that I didn't respond to. And these are all the text messages. These are all people who are in my texting community. So y'all see that? The number is 305-384-6894. These texts go out every single morning for free to everybody who is in my texting community. And I'm in my own texting community, so I get my own texts every single day. So you can see these are texts that I got because I just signed up to my own text line. So boom, this is the daily motivation text. So text me at that number so you get the daily motivation I send out every morning. And that's that. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Write your goals down for next month. Work on your game. We out of here.